Okay, welcome to the first Thursday Refuge Recovery World Services teacher-led offering. I'm Noah. Nice to see everybody. Welcome. Just as a reminder, this is not a Refuge Recovery meeting. Refuge Recovery meetings are peer-led. This is a teacher-led meeting. I'm going to offer some meditation instructions and Dharma talk, Dharma reflections, and have some Q&A. If you're looking for a meeting, you're welcome to join us for this, but this is not a good representation of what Refuge Recovery meetings are like. But you can find those on the website, and there are lots of online Zoom Refuge meetings every day. I want to start with a meditation, and I'll give some instructions. But my topic for tonight is loosely around generosity. And so I'd like to just ask you to generosity and service, and think about your inner relationship before we meditate. What's a generous inner attitude? What would it mean to you in your meditation to be generous with yourself, to give to yourself? And as we sit tonight, try to bring that attitude of generosity that, maybe it's as simple as giving your full attention, your generous attention to the present. Sometimes we think of generosity as like doing something for ourselves that's maybe not that healthy. Like, I was being really generous with myself when I ate all of that unhealthy food. Or so think of the generosity here and the bigger picture of our recovery and of the Buddha's teachings of giving that which leads to freedom, rather than temporary pleasures or comfort. Or, I mean, one of the things of that we're doing in sitting meditation is learning to be uncomfortable. And it can be so counterintuitive to be like, I'm just going to sit here, and it's an act of generosity to be in pain and to tolerate my pain and to be mindful of it. And ultimately, the most generous relationship that we can have is compassionate response to our own pain as well as the pain of others. So try to frame it like that. If it's helpful, if you want to, try to frame your meditation in that way tonight, that the intention is to be present fully here with what you're experiencing, with this attitude of generosity, giving our full attention to our own moment-to-moment experience, and that it's actually incredibly generous to stay with discomfort rather than avoid it. And I'll talk a little bit more about that afterwards in the reflections and Q&A. But find a way to sit that's upright and relaxed, a meditation posture. And as you're ready, allow your eyes to be closed. Take a few moments to relax into the posture, to find a sustainable, upright way to sit, and release any tension that you can release in the eyes or face, the jaw, the brow. Breathing in, feel the sensations that the breath creates. Breathing out, soften, release. Tension in the neck and shoulders and chest and belly. with each exhale, softening. We establish just an inner attitude of generosity. Often I call it friendliness or loving kindness. Be generous with your kindness towards your mind, with your friendliness, with your forgiveness, rather than feeding the stories about the past or the future. Letting the thoughts be in the background as we give our full awareness to the present time embodied experience. Sitting here, feel the contact with the sitting posture, whether you're on a chair, a cushion, couch, bed, wherever you are. Feel the breath as it expands and contracts the chest and belly, rising and falling. Present time, non-judgmental, kind, and investigative awareness. Investigating the sensations, the impermanent nature of the sensations that we're aware of. And for these first few minutes, let the breath be the primary focus, mindfulness of the breath, allowing the thoughts and other sense door activity to be background as we bring the sensations of the breath to the foreground of our attention. When the attention gets drawn into a plan or a memory, just knowing that that's what's happening, thinking is happening, planning, judging, fearing, hoping, worrying, whatever those thoughts are that are drawing your attention away from the breath. Be gentle as you return to the breath. As the sounds draw our attention away from the breath, perhaps lead to a proliferation of thoughts. Just acknowledge it again, hearing, thinking. And then coming back, choosing to return to the body, here, now. Breathing in, know that you're breathing in. Breathing out, know that you're breathing out. Learning to direct our attention, even though the attention wanders, is drawn to sound, to thought. Seeing that we can choose to return to the present time experience of the breath over and over. Just a half a breath at a time, just full awareness, comprehension, reception of the sensations of breathing in. And then just half a breath, full awareness of the sensations of exhaling. No need to control the breath or breathe any certain way, just paying attention to your natural body's rhythm of the breath. When you notice tension in the jaw or the shoulders or belly, remember to soften. Let go. Relax into an undefended posture. And begin expanding from the breath to include the whole body. This body, with all of its parts, the skin, hair, nails, the externally interacting parts of your body, where you feel temperature, sensation, and the internal, the organs, the bones, the veins, arteries. Becoming mindful, reflecting that this body is made up of the 4 elements. Feeling the air element with each breath. Sensing the earth element in the contact. The bones. Feeling the heat, fire element and the temperature. The warmth, coolness. And feeling the water element, becoming mindful that this body is majority fluid. Almost 80% water. And this body has 6 sense doors, 6 ways of knowing, through hearing and seeing, smelling and tasting, feeling, sensations, and thoughts and emotions that arise in the mind and are experienced in the body. Our mindfulness becomes inclusive of our whole being, physical, emotional, mental. present time, kind, generous awareness towards your mind, your heart, and your body. Thoughts arising and passing, sensations coming and going, sounds, and all of our experience perceived as either pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Bring this quality of investigation to the feeling tone, the second foundation, whether it's a thought that you're involved in or aware of. Is it a pleasant thought, an unpleasant thought, or neutral? The sensations here in your body, some pleasant, some unpleasant. Much of the body probably neutral. We get so focused on what's wrong, on what's unpleasant, what's painful. What's not painful in your body right now? Inclining our heart and our mind to meet all of the unpleasant thoughts, feelings, sensations, sounds, smells, tastes, with tolerance and mercy and compassion. Inclining our heart and mind, training our mind to meet pleasure with non-attachment, non-clinging. With the understanding that all things are impermanent, we learn to let go. Ending this short meditation with the loving kindness phrases, saying to ourselves, may I be happy, may I be at ease, may I be free from suffering. These generous, loving intentions towards ourselves, even if you don't mean it yet. couple more times to yourself in your own heart. May I be happy. May I be at ease. May I be free from suffering, the suffering of addiction, the suffering of attachment, of aversion, of resentment. May I be free. Then extending that same wish to your Sangha, 55 other people here in the Zoom room with us right now, live, meditating, sending loving kindness to each other. May you be happy. May you be at ease, find well-being, contentment. May you be free from suffering, the causes of suffering. May you learn to let go, to forgive. May you meet all of your pain with compassion. And extending this wish outward in all directions to the other loved ones in your life, Sangha, community, friends. Radiating loving kindness, this act of generous intention, goodwill. In all directions, east, west, north, south. Including all sentient beings in our generous, loving, kind intentions. May all beings be at ease. May all beings be at ease. May all beings be free. And when you're ready, you can allow your eyes to open, bring your attention back to the space you're in, the room, the environment, the screen that appears in front of you. I want to talk about generosity, service, and just how necessary it is for us on our path of recovery to dedicate some amount of our life's energy to being generous and being of service and giving freely of our time, our energy, our resources to each other. It's said, it's thought to be true that generosity, what we call dana, the importance of giving of our time, of our energy, of our sharing our food, sharing our resources with each other, is said to be the initial teaching that the Buddha most often gave to people when they came to learn this path of enlightenment. Before, which I think this is important. Before teaching meditation, you think if you like, we're going to go see a Buddha, the Buddha, be like, hey, Buddha, teach me how to meditate. And be like, first, I want to teach you how to give. Before we're going to get to the mind training, mindfulness, compassion, forgiveness, first, non-attachment, right? Like exactly what the meditation is going to teach us. Learn to let go of our selfish, self-centered, self-seeking, I, me, mine, my stuff, my tendency that we're all born into, and it seems to be the case that part of birth, part of incarnation, part of existence for humans is a self-centeredness. There's something about our mind, our big human brain, that thinks about itself most of the time. And as far as I can tell, it seems to be just like a survival instinct. Something, it's not your fault. It's like, self-centeredness sounds like a insult, doesn't it? Like if you call somebody conceited or vain or self-centered, it's like a diss. It's like you're talking shit, like, oh, you're so self-centered. But Buddhism, and one of the things I love about Buddhism is that it just normalizes the human condition. And it says part of being a human, and as addicts, I think that on some level, there's even more like intense experience of the human condition. But part of being a human is that you're going to be thinking about yourself. You're going to have conceit, vanity, and even the people, some issues around self-esteem, self-worth. And I think this is important. Most of you already know this, but even that feeling of like, oh, I don't think about myself. I think about other people, or when I do think about myself, I just think of like what a piece of shit I am, unworthy, unlovable, something. But low self-esteem is self-centeredness. It's still, I am thinking about myself and how unworthy I am all of the time. And it's this extreme state of self-centeredness. And so I hope this makes sense. What I'm trying to do, and what I love about Buddhism, is that it normalized, like, there's nothing wrong with you because you think about yourself all of the time, because we all do. It's just what the human mind does. And because that's true for everyone, generosity, being of service, thinking about others, putting ourselves in an empathetic, compassionate, generous, and training the mind to do that, because the mind isn't very good at doing that all by itself. And we have varying, I think that it's hard to talk about all humans or all addicts, because we have different levels of wounds, different levels of neurosis, different levels of mental, illness that we're dealing with. So it's not like, it's hard to say like, oh, this is true for everyone, because there's different levels of it. Self-centeredness is true for everyone, but there's extreme levels of self-centeredness. And then there's, some people who are quite easily other-centered, very generous, very naturally giving. And I don't even feel, qualified to talk about the self-centeredness of codependency, and how that sort of phenomena of like, no, I'm like always thinking about someone else, but how there's so much self-clinging in that, externalizing and putting our needs for other people to be different than they are. So in Refuge, we say right from the beginning, this is coming from the Buddha's teaching, be generous. Even the structure of our meetings, let's do a donation-based, freely offered. But donate in order to support the meeting, pay the rent, support the organization, freely offered. You get to practice generosity. In Refuge, we have a $5 suggested donation for the meetings. And I think it's quite interesting and I know this maybe will take a little bit of time, but maybe it's a mental exercise, but think about taking 5 ones when you go to the meeting and put $1 in the basket at a time with mindfulness of how does it feel to give $1? and then to give the second $1, and then to give the third $1. And maybe you're at a place where you're like, you know what, $3 feels like that's enough. $2 is enough, but so that you trust that the act of giving is a mindfulness practice, rather than a mindless, like, oh yeah, it's time to donate. So you just either do or don't, whatever you choose to do, but to actually bring awareness in, this is what it feels like to give. This is how it feels in my mind and in my body. Our whole structure is service-based, voluntary, taking a service position as a secretary, as a door person, as a group rep, as a greeter, as a, all of the different, a minutes taker, all of these different opportunities within our community to say, I'm going to voluntarily give my time to this group. I'm going to be of service. I'm going to take a commitment, a 6-month or a 3-month or a 1-year service commitment. I'm going to show up. I'm going to give freely of my time. Again, this is all, of course, it's how our community runs, but it's how our recovery happens. Our recovery happens by getting out of our self-centered, what can I get out of this group, out of this meditation, to this shift to like, what can I give? And of course, it's both and. It's not like either you're getting or you're giving. By giving, there's a feeling, like I said, like, check it out. How's it feel to give? Oh, it actually feels good to be of service. It feels good to give. The whole system of mentoring each other, of actually doing our own work, coming into the recovery rooms and learning meditation, doing our inventories. And then once we've started working on our inventories, the encouragement is start being of service to other people. You don't have to finish your whole inventory. And, once you've got a few questions going and there's a new person and they're saying, are there any mentors available? We should be raising our hands. If you're working on your inventories, you should be raising your hand to mentor other people through the inventory. If we're still just like, no, I'm just here for me and I don't have enough time and I'm trying to figure my shit out. Part of figuring our shit out, part of our recovering is going to be passing it on, is going to be being generous with our time, with our energy. Even if you feel like you don't know what you're talking about yet, that's okay. Because it's in the book, because it's in the meetings. You don't need to have the answers. You don't have the answers. You go with your mentee back to the book and say, let's look this up together. I don't know. Let's look it up together. And so, it's been such a huge part of my own experience in recovery, taking people through the process, whether it was in the 12 steps, taking people through that process, or now in Refuge, taking people through the inventories, taking people through the chapter by chapter through the book. So part of the reason I'm thinking about this is because, like many of you, I go to Refuge meetings regularly, and there's this dilemma that we've had in Refuge from the beginning, 8 years. In the beginning, I thought like, oh, this will organically happen. But this lack of people raising their hand to mentor each other. And I don't know, I'm not totally sure why, but part of the reason I want this topic tonight and to put this out into the Sangha is the importance of generosity. We're not here just to be mentored, we're here to give back. And giving back is going to be a necessary part of breaking our self-centeredness and recovering. So many opportunities to be of service in this world. Of course, here in Refuge, we can mentor, we can take service commitments, we can donate and, be part of the financial support. That's a way that we can do it too. We can start meetings. Many of you, I'm sure, have started online meetings or in-person meetings. What a great activity of service it is to start a meeting and go and show up and like maybe 1 or 2 people show up. and then 3 people show up, and then 5 people show up, and then a few months in, you have this group, this sangha of people, hopefully in your area, that are showing up, and it's because you chose to be of service. You opened the door, you paid the rent, you dedicated your time and energy to for your own recovery, but you were able to provide this community. I want to deeply encourage, now that COVID restrictions are lifting, and back at World Services, where we kind of run the listings, we're still like, well, what in-person meetings are happening? Which ones aren't? We, get contacted all the time of like, hey, is there a meeting in, wherever? And we're like, there used to be meetings. They shut down for COVID. We're not sure if they've come back. Nobody's told us. So I really want to deeply encourage this service, mentor each other, and start meetings and take service commitments at meetings, and do this and remember that this is part of our healing. That's an integral part of our recovery. Of course, it's much bigger than just refuge recovery. Generosity, service, engagement. Having kind of grown up in AA, and them saying, we continue to be of service to other alcoholics, I always felt like that was too small. I love it, we do, and as part of peer-led addiction recovery, we need to help each other, be of service to each other. But I've always felt like this world, there's so much need. And so early on in my recovery, I started volunteering at hospice. I started working for an AIDS outreach program, doing street outreach. I wanted to be of service to the world in a much bigger way than just helping other people in the recovery rooms. I think it probably, in Buddhism, I heard about creating a positive change on this planet. Now, we're doing that when we're of service to each other in recovery, when we're generous and we're mentoring and we're showing up and doing the commitments at the meetings. But maybe this is my own thing, but my sense is a socially, politically engaged, whether it's for the environment or for, whatever cause, whatever population, whatever demographic, animals, environment, social, political, service, engagement, I feel like is key. As Refuge Recovery, we're not going to tell you what kind of service to do or what kind of engagement to be in, but just a really strong, passionate feeling that it's important to be engaged in something that's helping, that's part of the solution in recovery and outside of recovery. Maybe I'll leave it there. That's my sort of those are my reflections. It's what I've been doing in my recovery for all of these years. I've never had a time. I'm coming up, I'll have 34 years this year. And from the beginning, I've had a service commitment. I've done service. I've been sponsoring or mentoring or, leading people through this stuff. From the beginning, I've never not been engaged in service, picking up the phone, showing up to the meetings. And I think it's a core part of that, of why I've stuck around, how I've stayed in recovery, sober, and it's encouragement that I want to pass on to you. May you all have successful recoveries, and may that be, maybe service be an integral part of your successful recovery. So I'll open it up for questions or comments or clarifications about what I'm saying. You can raise your hand in the reactions. I believe there's a little hand that will go up on your screen, and it's like a little blue hand or something. EC, go ahead and jump in.
Hi. I'm new since I started attending meetings on Monday. And I was just curious, as you were talking about service, did you ever have groups in Toronto? Because I think this, I've just, the minute I landed in a meeting, I felt at home. And just, if I mean, I've been practicing for a few years already, and so it felt absolutely right on the point. Is there a history of meetings in Canada, or?
There is lots of meetings in Canada. There was several meetings in Toronto. The Toronto Refuge group was meeting at Shambhala for a long time, Toronto Shambhala.
Right.
I think they went online, and I think they continue to meet online, the Toronto Shambhala group. Somebody here might know more, but it's a refuge meeting. And, and I think you guys have had more sort of lockdown than us. So like all the meetings keep getting locked down.
We're still locked down.
Phil, go ahead and unmute yourself if you have information about that.
Yeah, I'm a co-secretary for the Trillium Group. It's out of Toronto, Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
Cool.
It's a book study meeting. I'm one of the co-secretaries. So we get a nice little group.
Where are you guys? Where are you located? Usually when
right now it's online.
Yeah,
but right now it's online, but if we do get a hybrid going, it'll be at the Shambhala Toronto Centre Christie subway station. Very close to there. Yeah.
So maybe EC and Phil, if you feel comfortable, maybe you could exchange.
We should exchange, because I mean, I'm not ready to lead a group, but I would be interested eventually in adding to.
You should be able to do that in the chat function if you directly chat each other, and then you can exchange and connect and support each other in that way. Thanks for sharing that, Phil.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Jonathan, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Noah. Thanks for the talk and the sit. I appreciate this subject so much, and as someone coming from like 12 step before refuge was a thing, like I feel the same, right? And I often reflect on like why exactly what you're saying, like why is there not as much like people putting up their hand for mentorship and so forth, right? And like it's like there's like the only thing that I come up with is like it's such a distinct difference in like where like back in old school AA, like people would like grab you and like make you do shit, and it's like kind of like not what we're doing here, right? And I think, I mean, like I don't know if that's like the one distinction or if it's just like the newness of the thing, and there's just like it's just building, right?
Yeah.
But my question is this, totally unrelated to the talk and the subject. When are we going to get a Refuge Recovery daily reader, man?
Like a 365, just like a little.
Exactly.
It's not a bad idea, I guess. I mean, those are kind of nice things to have, right, on the toilet. something for the back of the toilet. I mean, it probably wouldn't be that difficult to actually just go through the refuge text and pull out little, 365 different little pieces, or maybe at some point I could write something like that. But yeah, thanks for the encouragement for that.
the seed.
Yeah. Adam, go ahead.
Hi, Noah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'll make it super quick. I'm on my second truth inventory right now. And this morning when I was doing it on the way to work, I'm on two questions that I'm struggling with. What are you attached to? Make a list and name some of the specific sensory pleasures you crave. I was wondering if you could just elaborate on those two.
Oh, you want me to tell you what I'm attached to? I'm attached.
No, yeah, sure. But...
yeah, I mean, the intention behind that is for us to get, to sit down there, pen to paper, and be like, well, I'm attached to my material stuff. Like, what material stuff am I attached to? Oh, I'm attached to these people, right? These relationships, these people, my pets, I'm attached to my image, myself, I'm attached to my fashion, just sort of like looking in that humble sort of like looking at, oh, here's all of the places where I cling and I probably suffer, right? Definitely suffer because I'm attached. So looking at all of that, and then, naming the sense pleasures of really kind of like, we're all somewhat aware of what says pleasures, but, whether it's, the sexual sense pleasures, just, food, I'm super attached to sushi or burritos, or, I'm attached to the good feeling of exercising or surfing, mountain biking, like the things that, like, when we don't get to do, we get kind of grumpy and kind of we suffer about. It's not like I sort of like snowboarding or something like that, but it's like, no, I'm actually quite attached to riding my motorcycle. I'm actually quite, when I don't get to get out on in the ocean or in the mountains or whatever it is, it affects me. I suffer about it because I crave it, because I'm cling for it.
Thanks
So,
a lot.
getting all that stuff down on paper is just helpful for us to bring. Then we say, like, okay, now I'm engaging in something that I'm attached to. I'm still gonna motorcycle, surf, have sexual, experience, whatever it is. But can I bring a different kind of awareness to it? And perhaps the big shift that we're all looking for is, can I move it from a craving, an attachment, to a non-attached appreciation? In our relationships and in all of this stuff of, like, I've been clinging to this, but can I relate to it with more of a connection of understanding its impermanence, its unreliability, and so that it's not a source of suffering, but it's a source of connection.
So more like desire and craving, those the differences between the two, right?
That's what we're looking for. That's the goal.
Cool. Thanks a lot. I'll finish it off on my way back home.
Right. And take some other people through it if you're not already.
Not yet, but you know what? In your speech, it actually, I've been attending meetings in Vancouver, so I've never raised my hand because I've just started this process and I didn't think I was qualified. But what you explained today is like, oh yeah, maybe that is a good idea, and give back that way. So thanks for that.
Yeah, and it helps us so much when we're taking someone else and that accountability to them, and we're taking them through the inventories. It'll help you on your path as well as help them. So it's so key.
Perfect. Thanks again.
Caroline, go ahead, jump in. You have to unmute still.
Sorry about that. Hi, I was just wondering if you're aware of a group in Montreal.
There were meetings in Montreal, but I'm not aware now. Have you looked on the website and they're not listed right now?
No, I don't see anything.
I think that they went away around COVID. There's been two kind of issues with our meetings. If some of you are aware, some of you are not. Half of our Refuge Recovery meetings changed their name to Recovery Dharma and changed the program. And so the Montreal meetings might have changed over to Recovery Dharma.
Okay.
Or they might have just gotten shut down during COVID and not have been reestablished yet.
Okay, I'll see what I can find.
Yeah. And if you, and I don't know if you're brand new or not, but if you've been around for a little bit, and if there's anybody else here from Montreal, start one, right? Because Montreal's an amazing city, and a Refuge Recovery meeting is needed there and will, support a whole bunch of people, including yourself. So that's the other piece of, like, when you feel established enough in your own recovery, start a meeting.
All right. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Amy, jump in.
Hey, I just wanted to echo kind of what you said about how good being a mentor is for you. It still surprises me, because I'm not very bright, I guess, that when I'm having like a shitty day and I'm like, fuck, I got to talk to a mentee at like 2, great. I really wish I didn't have to do that. Every time I feel better afterwards, just that, because I usually go for a walk or sit or something and we do something together and I just feel better. It's not always for the same reason, but just some things invariably come up in my recovery that give me something to look at. And I didn't do it for like my first year, and I wish I had now. So that, and starting a meeting isn't that hard. It's just really boring sometimes.
Yeah, you had that experience where you were a tiny meeting for months, and then people started showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a possibility for doing them hybrid too, having a laptop in there or something. I don't know. I know we were talking about that, but
There are people doing hybrid meetings.
Mhm.
I feel like we're so fortunate that we were able to transition to Zoom and have all of these Zoom meetings. But I think that part of the problem now is like people are like, well, it's just too easy to go on Zoom. I don't want to go and deal with like leaving the house and starting an in-person meeting. But there's a quality of human connection, of being in the room together, that although this is a decent, alternative to it, it's not the same as in-person connection, and actually being able to talk to people, not in the parking lot, not in the chat, and find mentors and become mentors. So in-person meetings is so important.
Going to dinner first and stuff.
Connection.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. Sonia, we'll have this be the last one.
Hi, Noah. Thank you so much. I got so much out of your share tonight, and I'm brand new to the Sangha. I attended 2 meetings online thus far, and tonight as well. Could you just tell me, I'm not new to recovery, however, I have prior experience in another 12-step fellowship. Could you just share, maybe for any newcomer who's brand spanking new to Refuge, just what I can do in the next maybe week or two just to get my feet wet? I feel like there's also a whole new language learning process that does need to take place as well. Maybe get the book as well, but obviously abstinence. Maybe just some things you could share, please.
Yeah. Coming to meetings every day will help, because then you get the guided meditation instructions, and you get, some support with some people. We encourage the book. I encouraged in the book in the beginning, just do the simple mindfulness of breath. Keep disengaging from the thoughts, keep coming back to the breath, and do that for at least 20 minutes every day. But more than just those 20-minute sitting meditation, as often as you can remember, disengage from the planning, remembering, craving tendency of the mind. Come back to the breath. Come back to the breath. So for the first couple of weeks, that can be your kind of core practice. Then we start to open to forgiveness, both mindfulness and heart practices, forgiveness and compassion. But you don't need to jump in there right in the beginning. Just start with the mindfulness, go to meetings, read the book, and find a mentor, find somebody that you'll be able to get their phone number, and maybe even tonight, somebody here that could help Sonia or anybody else who's new that's looking for connections. EC, I think, is also looking for some connections. So, to be of service to each other and have some people that you can talk to about what they're doing. But, the core is meditation, meetings. The book is the guide through the process. And then, you'll start your inventory and you'll start to do that, but you don't need to do that right away. And give yourself a couple of months of coming and connecting and staying sober first.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. EC, did you have another question?
I just wanted to comment, so it's not lost, just how much I liked what you talked about in terms of how self-obsessed we are, and the nature of that being human, and how there's different gradients. And I just thought that was brilliant, and it really helped with the meditation. Like, I found that I was able to meditate with a little less self-obsession.
Great.
So
fantastic. Thanks. I'm glad it helped.
It was fabulous. Thanks.
Yeah, so glad it helped, and glad to see everybody. And for those of you, that didn't catch the previous ones, there's about, I think, almost 2 years now, or a year and a half of these recorded on the Refuge Recovery World Services YouTube channel, so you can go back and listen to the podcast or watch the videos of these Thursdays. I'll see you next month, first Thursday in April. I'll be back. I think my topic it's going to be about the importance of making direct amends and the process of making amends. And, you know, again, it's somewhat connected with this topic of generosity and service and forgiveness. So I hope that you join me next month. I might change the topic, so don't hold me to that, but that's what I was thinking about, talking about amends. And this is, you know, freely offered. Michelle put the Refuge Recovery donate button in there. This isn't a meeting. I do this. This is part of my service to Refuge Recovery. I don't get paid for doing this. But if you'd like to practice some generosity and support Refuge Recovery, there's a donation button there. And if you feel moved to donate, feel free to. That would just help the organization. And may any goodness that comes from our gathering, our meditation, our discussion of the Buddha Dharma help each one of us heal and recover and be offered out, shared with all of the suffering addicts everywhere. May we each get as free as possible in this lifetime, and together may we create a positive change on this planet. Thank you, and good to see everybody, and see you next month.